Hey guys, what's going on? This is Sergeant Merrill, and today we're going to be checking out the free-to-play game Ghost Recon Online in its beta and see if it's worth your time. So it's an interesting time of the year that we have right now. It's a scary time of the year if you're in retail or if you're trying to sell some sort of product. Also, we see it on the internet too. This time of year is when advertising revenue drops way down. People just don't want to spend their money this time of year. Whether it's because the holidays are coming up or everybody's out having fun on vacation, not so much buying, whatever it is that they want. And we also see this translate into the gaming industry. You don't see a whole lot of games getting released this time of year. You do see a lot of teasing going on, a lot of trailers and stuff like that to build the excitement for the holiday season, but you don't see a whole lot happening. What an utter fail from that guy. He did make me shit my pants a little bit. So what we have here, guys, is Ghost Recon Online, and an interesting new trend that we've talked about before in the gaming industry is free-to-play games. And they're kind of like outside of this whole trend going on right now because they're fucking free. So we see a lot of activity happening with games using this model. It's almost as if people want to get into something, but they don't want to put a whole lot of money into it because they know they're going to be spending a lot of money come the holiday season, especially with the new consoles coming in. So Ghost Recon Online has, up until this point, kind of been under the radar, and it's still in beta. It's not fully released, but it's getting a little popular. And I think it's because of that trend going on with the AAA titles. So it's like this thing has room to breathe and maybe become a little bit successful, get a little bit of a player base. And it got me, and for good reason. Now, it's still a little rough around the edges because we are talking about a beta. That's to be expected. And I don't think that they are correctly implementing the free-to-play system. They're doing a couple things right. I think they're taking some trends from some other games that have been successful. But one thing you want to be extremely careful about in these situations is not giving an in-game direct benefit to the people that pay. That's not something you want to do. And they do a couple things that I'm not a fan of. Now, I haven't participated in it. I'm not sure how much of an advantage it actually gives. But one of them that caught my eye that I was like, hey, now, you shouldn't do that, is where you can pay for a type of ammo that gives you added damage. That, to me, is a problem. Now, I haven't seen it come into play just yet, but I still am in the lower tiers, and what we see is a lot of those things come into play in the higher tiers. Now, as far as the game itself, I think it's really fun. If you ever played the game Special Forces Team X, if you haven't, look it up. I did a video on it, and I was pretty happy with it. It had some pretty cool concepts, and it was a cheap game. And I remember picking that up on Xbox Live. This feels a lot like that. A lot of the third-person mechanics, the cover mechanics, and also the speed of the gameplay feels very similar. But with more realistic graphics and more realistic concepts, which is what the Ghost Recon name is known for. Now, for people who want to put connections between the Ghost Recon Online title and the Ghost Recon Future Soldier title, I can't help you there. I never played Ghost Recon Future Soldier. I watched a couple of videos on it, but they didn't release it for the PC at first. If you remember, they only released it on console, and then they came out with it on PC at a later date. And by then, it was kind of lost a lot of the steam that it currently had. Lost its steam. Get the pun? Never mind. But one of the things I do love about the Ghost Recon series is that it takes a lot of these what feel like sci-fi elements and mixes them into where they feel pretty realistic. And that's for a reason. It's because they're taking a lot of concepts that have actually already been researched in the military that are in some cases already in implementation and kind of advances them a couple years. And they do a lot of what-if type concepts, which is really enjoyable. It makes it feel like it's something plausible. And there's something to be enjoyed about that. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that everything you see here is something that's currently in implementation or, currently in development. But it's definitely something that's been thought about, something that's been researched, and there's been some type of, time put into it at some point. Like these mechanical legs that we see here on the assault class that I'm playing. That's been researched. That's something that they would very much like to do if it's capable. Our technology just isn't there yet. And what this game does is ask the question, what if our technology was there? and it brings some pretty cool gameplay into the mix. So right now I am playing the Assault class, and there are 2 other classes you can play. You can play Recon, which has the sniper rifles and some pretty cool Recon-like devices. You have the Specialist, which has a lot of support devices, and this particular class, which has some really cool devices as well that help push the effort forward. So in the beginning you saw the one guy with the shield. That was one option for the Assault class, but this is the other option, which I'm a bigger fan of. And what it is, it's a little device that comes up, pops its little head around cover, and does a little cone of fire that microwaves whatever in front of it. And what a cool concept that is, because it keeps the enemy's heads down. You know, it'll damage them. Even if they're behind cover, it's going to make them feel extremely uncomfortable. It's going to blur their vision. It's going to make it difficult for them to aim. And it's actually going to do a little bit of damage. So people that are getting hit by this thing are going to feel real uncomfortable about the position that they're in. And it's a cool concept, and one that we could see in implementation. We already have devices that are like microwaves that push like a cone of radiation forward that pretty much microwave your skin, and we see it in action right here. It's doing damage, and what this is going to allow my team to do is move forward in this area. And what you'll see, those little pieces of damage, they're all moving out. So all the people that were covering that hallway have moved completely out. They didn't like that shit. They didn't like being microwaved. So they moved out. My team gets to move forward, and I'm going to go ahead and take the opportunity to flank while they're keeping their eyes down that hallway. It makes for some really interesting gameplay, if you ask me. And it's a device that's really needed in this game. Definitely not used enough, because in this game it's so easy to get behind cover. You just hit spacebar. You know, it feels a lot like Gears of War or something in that aspect, where you just get yourself behind cover and you can easily pop in and out of it. And what you'll see in a lot of times, especially in the earlier tiers where people don't really know better, is the 2 sides get really dug into defensive positions, and you have kind of a stalemate. So what devices like this do is it allows, when it's used intelligently, definitely allows forward movement on one side if it's used with teamwork. And I'm telling you, they put so much focus into the teamwork that is required to move forward. There's a lot less run and gun in this game. One thing that they do to limit it is that when you're sprinting and you stop sprinting, you get like a half-second timer. You see that right there? I stop running, I get a little timer. I cannot fire during that time. It's like it takes your gun like half a second to come up. And I think they do that to limit the people that just sprint around and just run and gun. And they want people to get into these dug-in positions. They want people to get behind cover. And they want people to correctly use the devices in coordination with each other to move forward. And if it does happen, it's a magical combination, and it's a lot of fun. So at this time, even though it's still in beta, even though they do have some rough edges that I really hope they work out, I am going to recommend this game to you guys. I mean, it's free, so it's kind of hard for me to say it's not worth your time at all. And I have had a lot of fun with it. I put a couple hours into it, and I definitely intend on putting more time into it. And that's always a good thing. So check it out, guys. It's going to be the first link in the description. Let me know what you think about this game. If you love it, tell me why. If you hate it, please tell me why. And we'll see what happens as far as future content on this particular game. That's all I have for this video. Really hope you guys enjoyed it. Maybe learned something new about a new free-to-play title that's available at this time. But this is Sergeant Merrill, out here.